Why did the vertebrae break up with the disc? There just wasn't enough support in the relationship.
Well, thank you, Rob, for being here this morning. Welcome to the What Makes You Smile podcast. As we were talking about outside, this is just a casual conversation, not a lot of pressure. We're here to have fun. Everybody, you're going to be fine. I know.
All right.
I'm
feeling confident.
You're good. You're going to be okay. So, yeah, I mean, thanks for coming. I mean, this has been a long time, I think, coming. We get together for breakfast from time to time, and we have these amazing conversations. So part of the podcast is really just about me being able to carve out some time to talk to friends about things that I find interesting that they do or that, that they're into or interested in. So, but the deal is two things. First, you got no shop talk. So we're going to avoid talking about work. We're going to talk a little bit about things around your work.
Yeah.
I think I got some questions, but no, no shop talk. This is about a joke. These are off the cuff conversations about our off the clock lives. And then the second thing is you got to come with a joke. And I know I was late telling you this. I forgot to tell you this till yesterday, but I know you're prepared.
I'm prepared.
You're ready?
I'm ready.
You're good? You're good?
I'm ready.
You're ready to go? All right.
Let's do this.
Let's see what this joke is. I'm hoping it's...
All right. The joke is, why did the vertebrae break up with the disc? There just wasn't enough support in the relationship.
I was hoping. I figured there might be something that was related to your...
See? We're dancing around it already.
I know. That's good. Yeah. There wasn't enough support. Wasn't enough support?
There wasn't enough support in the relationship.
Support in the relationship. You got to have support in the relationship. If you haven't got that, you've got nothing, right?
Like a good pair of underwear.
No, absolutely. That has nothing to do with work.
No.
But it's good. That's, you need that. So I guess, the first question I always have. Well, no, actually, I'm gonna start with a different question than what I thought about. I wore this shirt specifically because we were both basketball coaches for a lot of years, and so we never had the chance. I got to see your team play, and I think you came to watch us play a couple of times, but we never had the chance to sort of play against each other. But maybe we should try and get the guys together and have a little friendly competition. I like low stakes competitions.
A few muscles might be pulled there.
Yeah, if we do 3-on-3 with our boys. And see. Yeah, I know that'd be ugly. I went to shoot with Ben the other night. I'm like, I haven't picked up a basketball in 2 years or a year and a half since I stopped coaching, and it was ugly. It was just rain like stuff.
Yeah, there's this horrible thing about aging and the lack of coordination that develops with it. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That makes you laugh, though.
I'm in denial. It's the longest river, right? Yeah. So anyhow, we were shooting and it was ugly. But I think one of the things that I really enjoyed, and it's only on reflection, was all the stuff that I got out of basketball. I love coaching basketball. There were so many amazing memories and experiences, but also things that unbeknownst to me, that I was developing along the way. So. Talk about what that was like for you, like that basketball experience. How did you get into it?
Yeah. So coaching basketball began before we had children. I always enjoyed the sport. I wanted to be involved in the community. So I actually coached, not rep basketball. So I coached house league basketball with YNBA when I first got married. And then once we had our first son, life got busy. I stepped away from coaching. And then my boys did take an interest in basketball, and I coached them through house league. And when it came time for them to move on to rep, I felt like I wanted them to have their own experience with other coaches that would probably be more qualified than myself. And so I stepped back, and I was a parent observing, and it was great to see. We had some amazing coaches in the YNBA, and I learned so much from them, not just about coaching drills, but how to manage a team and how to direct the boys to develop as fine young men, good sportsmanship, and lots of good values there. And then eventually, my younger son, Colin, his coach, moved away, and he assigned another parent and I to take over the team. And that, all of a sudden the heart starts pumping. But you know what? I stepped into it, and it turned out to be a true blessing. And it was an amazing lesson along the way. And yes, you learn a little more about coaching, but you learn a lot more about the joys of watching the boys develop relationships, learn to become men, be good sportsmen, and it's a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Really, and I think that's, that experience, and I think it was sort of similar for me. Is I made the mistake one day of saying, if you need any help, let me know. I'm happy to help out. Which I was really like, I could help clean up the basketballs, right? Like, and somehow you wind up coaching, and it started. Kids were pretty young, coaching house league, and there was some. It was a lot of fun. Actually, that's the age, like that 8-9 age was probably my favorite age when they were really young, because they were just sponges. But yeah, and then it's sort of, as you go, the expectations become a little higher. And so I bought the book because I don't know. Did you play basketball growing up?
I did play basketball, yes.
And you had an advantage. I grew up playing hockey. So I would like run hockey practice drills because I didn't know. I'm like, do this, like, let's do a dump and chase drill. Like,
there you go.
So I bought Basketball for Dummies, and that was sort of the thing. And I would bring it at the beginning of the season for a couple of years, just to manage expectations of the parents. It's like, I'm just going to put this on the bench so you understand precisely what you're getting out of the season for your kid. I'm going to be an amazing cheerleader, but I'm probably going to be a lousy coach.
Okay.
It also was, a bit of a defense against criticism. It's like, how can you criticize me? Look, you're not coaching. Like, I got to look for idiots here. But yeah, what are some of the things in terms of, particularly as they got older? Like, it was really good basketball. I watched when we were in, I think, Kitchener and Waterloo for OBAs. We stopped to watch one of the games for the YNBA team, and that was really good basketball. Like,
thank you.
What did you like? What are some of the memories? Like, what's one of your favorite memories of that?
Well, we always had a rival team that we played against, and eventually they always beat us when we were younger. And as the boys developed, we eventually started to pull even with them, and we would win some games. And that was really rewarding for the boys to see that they kind of caught up to their rival team. But the more they played together over the years, they gelled, and they just kind of knew where each other was going to be on the floor. And you could see like a seamless beauty, the way the ball would move and how they would have a really good breakout, a good dump and chase. But yeah, like it was amazing to see just the development of how they played together as one functional unit over time. And it was really rewarding. Definitely made me smile.
Yeah, and I don't know, I can't remember if we talked about this, but I don't know if you've read the book Boys in the Boat. It's and there's a movie about it, but in that, and it's about an 8-man rowing team in the 1930s, I think, if I remember correctly. And they talk about this thing called swing, when they were in perfect harmony, when they're unison, they were sort of on top of the water and nothing could touch them. Mm-hmm. And one of the greatest things about watching a team of friends play basketball, then they've got that absolute trust in one another, is when they hit that swing on the court, and and it's like magic, like, and that is such a great feeling as a coach, just sit back and watch it. And we got it, our team hit that the very last game. And I'm looking over Simon that I coached with them. They waited till now, but it was kind of nice. There was some symmetry to it, but, how was it? What was it like coaching your kids? Like, because that's, you have to have a different relationship.
Yeah, they put up with me. It was good. They were, we never caused any issues. I remember once in house league, we were playing for a championship game, and my older son was shooting a free throw to win the game, and at the very end of the game, and he had 2 free throws, and we were down by 1. And I'm standing on the sidelines, and I'm giving him directions, and he looks at me and he goes, "Dad, I've got this."
Oh yeah.
He's just, "Shut up, Dad." Stop coaching me.
We're good.
We're good.
This is not helpful.
Yeah, exactly. And lo and behold, he was right. And coaching my younger son, he's great. Very respectful boys, and I tried to deliver the same respect back. So there was never any issues there. Never tried to do any favoritism, anything like that. Yeah. It was nice. It was nice coaching with my boys.
Yeah. Yeah. And, one of the things I always had to balance, I felt, was that often I think I was probably harder on my kids than on the other ones in terms of expectations while they were practicing, as they couldn't dog it. Which was probably helpful in some ways, but in others, it's you got to turn that relationship on and off. Like, you get in the car afterwards, and it's like, am I still the coach? Am I dad? Like, how do I support this player right now? Yep. Yeah. And so we've talked. Like, do you think you'll coach again?
It could be possible. Yeah, definitely. We're at a point where soon my boys will be out of the house, and there's gonna be a little more time available, and it could be a possibility. And I feel it in my heart every once in a while. And And then, but then my brain steps in and says, well, we got a whole bunch of other things going on in life, but you got to follow those heart things because it's in your heart for a reason, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's amazing. I didn't know that you'd coached before. Before your kids started. Yeah. That's, that's amazing. Because I think a lot of coaches are in it, and I'm sure, YMBA or IEM or any of the leagues will tell you that they get coaches for a window of time, which is typically for as long as their kids are involved. And you see those, we know some of the coaches that are from the community that, they coach because they love it. Like they don't have kids in it. They're just there because they believe in the power of sport.
It's a nice thing to see.
Yeah. And teams are like, it's amazing when you see teams. Like I think, and it's like friendship. It's like, for you and I, like you have this relationship of trust with somebody that, if you needed something, they'd be there. And teams are such a powerful thing for young people, I think, because it gives them someone they can rely on. They've got their circle. Like they know that somebody's got their back. It's healthy. Being young or being old, it can be quite isolating. You can feel alone. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, so many ways you can give in the community, and it doesn't have to be through charities and so on. Like coaching basketball, giving to the kids, giving to their families, and it comes back, and you get rewarded from it as well too, emotionally, and it's a wonderful thing. So I can definitely see how you have those coaches who step in even though they don't have children playing, and they just do it out of the goodness of their heart and just love the experience.
So did you win that game?
Did we win the game that Aiden shot the free throws in? Yeah. Yes, he sunk both of them. So I just had to trust him, right? Yeah, that was a monumental moment in his basketball career, definitely.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure and that going on. Yeah, and did you have so Ben and Nathan will sometimes give me a hard time about we had some pretty bad seasons, some losing seasons, and it was clearly the coach's fault. It's a miracle that, if it was the Leafs, I would have been fired, right? Like it's one of those things. But so did you have any seasons where you look back and go, well, that was, that was interesting. Like, we got scorched pretty much all year long.
Yeah, that would definitely be Colin's first season of rep. So basically they just started a brand new team. All the kids had never played rep before. And part of the learning lessons was the coach at that time, Rembrandt. He was amazing. He put us in one tournament where we were totally outclassed, but he wanted the team to see what top-notch basketball looked like. And it was hard because the parents were getting upset about the difference in the score and how we were losing so heavily. But there was a learning lesson there that was just trying to be taught. Right. And there was some that first season for Colin in rep basketball was a little rough. But even towards the end of that season, you could see things slowly starting to develop.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, and those, I talk about this a lot, is that failure is the most effective learning tool that you have, right? Like if you can take that and channel it into something powerful, like, there's the phrase, we have a tolerance for failure. I think, really the most effective or the best way to frame it is that we have a tolerance for trying, right? And that's why when you're on a team and it doesn't go well, it's not a failure. You've got everybody that's able to lift you up because you tried something. In that case, you tried, you went and you tried this tournament and, you weren't ready for it, but you learned from it. So that's all, that's such a valuable life lesson, just, not even just for the team or the kids, but for everybody who hears that story. So
yeah, so true.
It's awesome. So I'm going to come now to kind of work. Okay. One of the things that, this podcast is about things that what makes you smile, things that make me smile. One of the things that always makes me smile is when I'm driving across town on Gorham or Eagle, and I drive past your office, and I should have, when introducing you, I have to admit, you're the second person who's been on here that for most of our relationship you've looked at the back of my head. Maurizio was, he was I think episode 5. He cuts my hair and he just stands. We have this conversation and he's here, and the same is true for you. Is that you're here and you're adjusting my misshapen back. That's the result of couches, computers, and cell phones, the 3 C's, as you say. But
there we go.
One of the things that always makes me happy is when I come across town and I'm seeing your sign with, some of the ones on there now is about FIFA and, we got your back or something like that. But so let's talk about those signs because they're amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to say about 10 years ago, we had to change our sign because our old wooden side, the posts were rotting. And when we decided to do a new sign, I wanted to have a sign that was lit up. And then Danielle said, my wife Danielle, she said, why don't we put like a little message board on the sign? And I was like, that's a fantastic idea. Let's do it. And so over the years, we put up fun messages. Sometimes they're supporting the community and announcing events. And a lot of the times it's just quirky little things that make you think a bit.
Yeah.
And the sign's been amazing. We get such positive response from our patients. We had one patient come in last year who was just having a rough period in her life. And she said that she read our sign on the way in for her adjustment, and it just made her laugh and put a smile on her face. And that made my day that day, just to hear that one comment from the patient. And lo and behold, we'll probably get about 5 or 6 people from the community call in during the course of a year and either start as a new patient in our clinic because of that, or just make a comment like, hey, thank you for putting those messages on the sign. Yeah. So it's been fun doing it.
So what are the top, and just for those that, for our listener,
sure.
Show if the kids always bugging this. It's great that you've got lots of friend. So I'm sure they say it's great that you got lots of listener. But for those that are listening, this is Murray Family Chiropractic on Eagle in Newmarket, and obviously I'm a patient and a friend, but and the sign is one of the things that I think makes everybody smile when they go past. So what are some of the top ones that you've heard people give you feedback on?
So well, definitely I think there's gonna be a reoccurring theme in this podcast today about music. And because music makes me smile. And I've noticed over the years that some of the most popular messages that we put on the sign have been revolved around music. And so, for example, one that got a lot of feedback from people was Shakira says, "Hips don't lie. What are yours saying?" So that was the first. I
remember that one.
Yes. So that was the first music one that we put up, and people were making comments all the time. Ladies loved it. And so I was like, okay, let's see if we can keep this rolling. So then we moved into "Don't Let Your Backbone Slide." You remember the Maestro Fresh West from I guess that'd be the early 90s or something.
I think he's playing in Brampton on Canada Day.
Wow, he's still around.
You should probably send him that and go down and see him.
There we go, yes. And then a really good one that made it onto popular social media was "We'll help your tragically hip if you're feeling a little downy." So with that one, a passerby who was a big Tragically Hip fan stopped, took a picture of the sign, and tagged the Tragically Hip, and they reposted it on their Instagram. And the next thing I knew, I'm at home in the evening one night, and I'm getting messages from cousins and friends saying, "Your sign is on the Tragically Hip Instagram page." Like, crazy. What? What's going on?
That's awesome.
So that was really amazing. So definitely you can see how the music related messages that really touch people.
So what's it like to go viral? I mean, that's
yeah. I was famous for about 2 minutes there. It was amazing. It was great, fun to get those messages from friends and family and so on.
Well, get ready, because it's going to happen after this. I guarantee.
There we go.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. I'm just waiting for that inflection point, and I think we're at that point where it's about to go big. So
nice.
Yeah. I hope you're.
It will.
I know that you're trying to avoid fame, but this might be a problem for you because it's going to be big today.
Can't avoid it.
That's awesome. So, are there any? As you know, I spend a lot of time thinking about what should be on your sign, and I have never come up with something that was sign worthy. So, are there any that you discarded?
Oh, yes.
What are some of the ones?
I've had suggestions
for work ones?
And I'm like, oh yes, thank you very much for that suggestion. Meanwhile, I'm like, never, that's not going on the sign. We need to make sure that nowadays everything's politically correct.
Yeah.
Also at the same time, I don't want to put anything on the sign that kind of paints a negative impression of my profession, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But so there's definitely been messages that probably should not be mentioned on this podcast.
We'll wait till after. You can tell me in the parking lot.
There we go. Yes, definitely. But I did put together a short list of, David Letterman used to do a top 10 on his TV shows.
Yeah.
So aside from music ones, I did put together a short list of a top 7. If you'd like to hear some other ones.
I love.
So these are not music related.
We're all about puns on here.
These are just quick, and you're going to realize there's a theme here. I am a father. I am 50 years old. So these are going to be like dad jokes, right?
Yeah.
Lots of puns. So here we go. Number 7, we'll get you back to the future.
Nice.
Number 6, like Humpty Dumpty, will put you back together again. Number 5, for every backbone, there's a discount. And then we got number 4 here.
I had to think about that one for a second.
There you go. Yeah, we got discs in your spine, right? There's
these are some deep cuts within the sort of the chiropractor field. Yeah. I'm sure that this would kill at the convention.
Yeah. We should have done an anatomy lesson before we started this.
I am a liberal arts guy. I have no idea.
Number 4, alignment is how we roll at this joint.
Joint. I got that. Yeah.
Are your muscles cramping your style? There we go. We all cramp up, right?
Yeah.
You ever wake up in the morning, you stretch your leg, and you get that calf cramp?
Absolutely.
Like,
I'm in my 50s. It's like, that's why I come to you.
Yeah. So for all the folks out there, you got a calf cramp in the morning, stretch your foot back, bring your toes back towards your knees. I just can't stop. I have to give advice. It's got to be done. And make sure you're getting magnesium and potassium in your diet. All right. Number 2, we'll limber your lumbars.
There you go. Yeah.
Get you moving there.
That one's going to stick with me all day.
There you go. Got to get those hips moving.
Yeah.
And then number 1, David Letterman, number 1 was always just kind of like a goofy one. And it's just like, why is that number 1? Number 1, stand corrected.
Yes. Nice. Well, there you go. There's David Letterman, top 7.
There we go.
Puns, back puns,
Yep.
chiropractic puns for the side. Thanks, Rob.
We just need Paul here playing music with the band.
Yeah. I'd had a vision too with all this that we would like create one of those, come up with one during the podcast, but I'm not sure that our listener wants to sit and watch us try and come up with some pithy puns, but those are awesome. Thank you so much for doing that.
Oh, thank you for letting me share them.
Yeah, and I guess you talked about music in some of that, right? Like, you and I share a similar. We're of the same age, and similar love of music. I've asked the question before of some people that are on here. What's your Desert Island album? But I think with you, just what is that love of music, and where did it come from?
Yeah, so love of music and where it came from. Grew up with older brothers, 7 and 9 years older than myself, and so I think I was kind of exposed to music at a younger age when they were listening to music in their teenage years. So I grew up with them listening to bands like Van Halen and Def Leppard, and they were right into the rock scene and so on. And I grew up in the country. I mean, we didn't have too much to do, so music was great. Radio was fantastic. At 6:00, the top 6 would come on the radio station I used to listen to, the top 6 at 6, and I would be there with my cassette tape ready to hit record.
Oh my God.
And the old ghetto blaster, so you could record those favorite songs. But for me, I think the love for music came from the emotions that I get from music, and it's so powerful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's I think it gives you. It's hard to describe. Like, when you're younger, the connection to it is that almost like somebody feels the same thing as you, right? Like, when you hear some of the words within songs, or, and I'm sure it's true when you get older, but, we were talking before about sort of sharing music as well, is that, you and I talk about stuff. I mean, you're telling me recently that you're a huge fan of the Gandharvas, and you shared that with me. And I remember them like from the back of the 90s. Like, so, what's the music that you've shared with people lately?
Music that I've shared with people lately. Wow. Well, going back to the Gandharvas, I introduced my younger son, Colin, who's going to the University of Guelph now, to the Gandharvas. And he liked them. And he shared it with his friend, Silas. And now, so there's like a little group of friends here that are listening to the Gandharvas again. Right. And it's like, I wonder, like, our generation, the parents, are we getting the kids now into the music that we liked when we were younger? And maybe there could be some revivals with the younger generations, so on, because of the music that we listen to. But so I would say the Gandharvas is a music that I have shared that has caught on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I think it's for sure. Like, my kids are into the Watchmen, right? Like, they really like, and they like them. And I've always been a huge fan. We've seen the Watchmen a few times. Kim and I have gone to see them, and I'd seen them, I think, in '93 or something like that at the Underground at York University. Like, they've always been one of my favorite bands. So it's neat to hear the kids listening to that music. And I sometimes think that there's a 20 to 30 year lag, right? Like, it's, we liked Zeppelin and the Stones, and they were all sort of the generation before rock, and you tend to, you lean onto that because it feels maybe in some ways more genuine than what you're seeing now. And it's funny that kids are, we're seeing that with our kids that are around the same age, that they're into Gandharvas. Now, are they still active?
The Gandharvas? No.
Yeah. No, so
they broke up a long time ago, just a few years after they became popular. I think they had troubles touring, and things weren't going well in the band. Had a lot of stress on them, and they broke up.
You should see you guys could get them back together.
We're trying. Yeah, we're trying.
This is it. If the Gandharvas are listening, I mean, it's maybe they could. It's, you never know.
Possibly. Paul Jago, if you're out there, I know you're on Facebook. I've found you. I've hunted you down. I've messaged you.
It's not stalking. This is the chance for the Gandharvas to get back together for a reunion tour in 2026.
There we go.
You could sell at least 3 or 4 tickets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could get a few kids there, I'm sure, from the University of Guelph.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, and I'm sure they played Guelph back in the day.
They did, and I saw them, so that was also part of the hook. You see a band live, and you just get that connection.
Right, yeah.
I had a patient say something really insightful to me once. He said, Rob, you can go to a hockey game or a sporting event. There's a 50% chance that your team's going to lose, and you're going to leave that event kind of not so happy. But you go to a concert, and 9 times out of 10, you leave that experience, feeling amazing. Yeah. It's true, right?
It's true. Yeah. Though I would argue that maybe the percentages are a little different if you're a Leafs fan. Like it's maybe an 80% chance, but it feels like 100% some days.
There we go.
But yeah. I mean, well, we went to the Pearl Jam concert in Hamilton.
Yeah, that was a blast.
Yeah, and again, I hadn't seen Pearl Jam since I think I joked on my social media post that the last time I saw them, I went with the guys in the band, and this time I went with my chiropractor. I think I'm aging well. So, but like there's something, you're right. I mean, that's sort of, and I've talked about it on the podcast before, this sort of communal experience where you share that with 18,000 people, 20,000 people, however many were in that room in Hamilton at the former Cops Coliseum, whatever it's called. What I was amazed about at that concert is that they must have hit the curfew and they turned the lights on.
Yes.
And it was so jarring and it was so weird, but then you kind of settled in. This brightly lit arena with 16, 18,000 people in it, and Mike Recruity just killing the solo and Alive. When the lights come on, it's like, what do we do? Do we leave? Like, is that what they're saying? We need to go? But they kept playing. And it's like, it didn't matter. Right? It was just an amazing experience. And, that's a great, it's a fun memory for me anyhow to share that with you. And that, with the lights on.
The lights on. That's an Eddie Vedder thing. He likes to have the lights on at the end of the show.
Really? I didn't know that was a thing.
I've seen that at a couple of concerts now.
Oh, I thought they just played so long that the union or whoever runs the stadium was like, that's it. You guys are done. It's like flashing the lights at somebody. Like, shut up, go home.
No. Eddie likes to see the crowd at the end. And, sometimes they love The Who. They have an appreciation for The Who. And they'll be throwing like tambourines out into the audience and they're playing, doing a tribute song for The Who and so on.
Oh, yeah, they did that. I guess that's so you can see the tambourines coming.
Yeah, you want to make sure, right?
Yeah.
Liability issues there.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lawsuit waiting to have and take a tambourine in the side of the head.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know whether I feel better or worse about that now. If it's intentional, I guess that, it's part of the experience. I missed that at the time. I was like, man, they're resilient. They're rebels. They're going to play through the stadium staff turning the lights on them. But
I think they turned them on at like 10 to 11 or something like that.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. So what's your favorite Pearl Jam song?
Oh boy, favorite Pearl Jam song. That's a tough one because I have so many favorites for different reasons. Different moods that I'm in.
Yeah.
So, if I am feeling like a little melancholy and down, I listen to Black.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, very emotional, strong, stirring song. Yeah. Love Corduroy though, if I'm kind of feeling in a good mood. Rearview Mirror. It's what I find with Pearl Jam, because their songs are heavy hitting, it's more sometimes the melody and the harmony of a certain song that will make me feel good, right, and happy and put a smile on my face. So it's just kind of those songs that, I can picture like the guitar riffs of certain songs, and it's like like Corduroy or Given to Fly at the beginning, an acoustic. So it's hard to say. There's a number of different songs. I can't say, but if I was to say what song have I listened to the most over my life, it'd probably be Black. I guess I get within myself every once in a while. Yeah,
there's something so forlorn about that last series of lines about knowing that you'll find a better. Someday you'll find a better life or something like that. Yeah. And it is, and it's that song, I think, is always reserved for a particular place and time or a moment or an emotion or a feeling or something. But
that's a deeply personal song to the band.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that era, because we were of that age, I think they're imprinted on us too, right? Like Gandharvas are imprinted on you, and you kind of get that indelible mark on your memory or your psyche or your emotions, where it always grounds you in some way back to a period of time that maybe was different than it is now, and so.
Yeah, I think I had a girlfriend break up with me when I was in like grade 11, and I just listened to Black all over and over and over again.
And as you should. I think that's probably when they wrote that. They're like, somewhere out there's a bunch of guys in grade 11 that are going to need this song.
Yeah, maybe looking back, maybe that wasn't the smartest thing to do. Probably should have called on some friends and just hung out and so on.
Let's go out and do something. But no, let's listen to Black over and over again.
Yes.
I mean, and I'm sure from there you probably went to a live, and that was sort of life affirming.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yep, bounce back.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I guess the last one just on that. What is your desert island album?
Ooh, boy. Well, I'm getting repetitive here, but I mean, gosh, it would be the Gandharvas, not a Pearl Jam album, but the Gandharvas.
Well, you told me that on Spotify, you're a top 5 listener of the Gandharvas.
Yeah, I got
you
one
must
of those
obviously have your
annual reports. It sounds like number 4 in the world listening to the Gandharvas, and I was thinking to myself, well, who are these other 3?
Yeah,
because I went nuts on the Gandharvas last year.
It's probably them.
Because I just rediscovered them. Like I'd totally forgotten about them for a while. Then all of a sudden, one of the songs popped in my head, and I was like, oh yeah. So I found the album on Spotify, and as I was listening to it, I was like, this is solid. Yeah. And so I listened to it a lot last year. It was number 4 in the world.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's funny. They had sort of on my playlist came up this sort of CanCon list, and it was going through it, and because the kids are into this, that genre of music and that era of music, I keep telling them you should get the boxes of CDs out from down in the basement that are from that period. But I don't know that we will ever see another period in Canadian culture where you have the volume of creativity and the access to it. And it was a result of CanCon rules on the radio and just, this dawning awareness of Canada as an identity. And I think generationally, we'd been through 40 or 50 years of peace. So you kind of, focus on the things that mattered. But the government of the day seemed to really support the creation of it. But you had all these amazing bands like the Killjoys, the Hip, Spirit of the West, the Watchmen, sort of on and on and on. Yeah. I'm amazed when I look back or when I come across a playlist is just how much stuff, how much great music there was. Much music, really came into its own then. And, we had this, our own music station that was playing our own music. Yeah. And I don't think I feel like young people these days, missed that because we're so interconnected. We don't have a distinctly Canadian infrastructure that supports music or plays music. Mm-hmm. Your comment about getting ready to press record on the top 6 at 6 to get your song, odds were pretty good that there was maybe one on there that was from Canada, like a Canadian band, it was, probably Corey Hart or Brian Adams or something like that. Yeah. But, there's some of those experiences where I feel bad that our kids aren't getting, whether it's recording music off of the radio on your cassette player or having a uniquely Canadian identity or connection to a band, because there's, there was a bit of a rah-rah patriotism at the time too, particularly after 95 with the referendum. But, so the Gandharvas, I'm all in. I support that. I think we should look back on that era of Canadian creativity as something that was really unique and special.
It was a good time. We were very fortunate to go through high school in the early 90s, and that time music was amazing, very influential time for us as well. But a lot of great Canadian bands at that time.
Yeah, so when I get home, I'm going to start listening to, did you remember the band Head? It was little H, big H, EAD. They're from Toronto. The bassist went on to be in By Divine Right or Arcade Fire. I can't remember which, maybe both of those bands, Brendan Canning. But they were always my favorite, a really jangly sort of guitar with some sort of quiet, loud. Yeah. They were, Noah Mintz was the singer. I'd seen them at Lee's Palace a couple of times. And just, there is those bands that I think maybe didn't hit the mainstream or get, quite as popular as some of the other ones that were such an important part.
Right there, right? They were.
Yeah, when you think of music as a painting, they were sort of maybe not in the foreground, but they were there as part of the colors and the hues and the artistry of it. So
and they were probably worthy. It's just funny how some bands can break through and some don't. There's amazing bands that might not just become popular.
Yeah. Last question.
Okay.
Favorite concert.
Favorite concert ever? Oh my gosh! Wow. I'm gonna have to say Coldplay last summer with my family at that new Rogers Stadium.
Oh yeah, good.
So the stadium was beautiful. The event was amazing. Coldplay does a good job. They put on a good show. It comes back to me for emotions, and the emotions I felt at that concert, the smiles, they did an amazing job. And they're a good band. They have good values. They're all about the environment and so on. So it was an amazing experience, and I got to share that with my wife and kids at the time. And I've asked my boys, and they've said the same thing. It's their favorite concert ever. So shout out to Coldplay. They did an amazing job, and that was definitely the best concert. I'm sorry you weren't there with us, Daryl.
Yeah,
it would have been
no,
great to
yeah.
be together.
Yeah, no, yeah.
We could have been on the Kiss Cam.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, heck of a way for Danielle to find out that you took me to a concert.
There we go. You remember that story from Boston, right?
I absolutely do. Yeah. That would be very awkward if you went up on that. Yeah. So, and I guess, and I should say that's not the last question. The last question is always, what makes you smile?
Friends make me smile. My wife would say that I have FOMO because I just want to be around people, and I love being around friends, sharing experiences. And that's what makes me happy. And so it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Don't have to be at a fancy restaurant. It could be a conversation out on a sidewalk. It could be sitting around a campfire, some music on at the same time. Yeah. But that's what fills my soul and makes me smile. Friends and family. Yes. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, and we've talked about that. We need to get together more. We need to get together with guys and just hang out. Like I think you talked about wanting to get a group of guys, we go golfing or go away for a weekend or something like that. And I think it was on the very first podcast when I was talking to Wasim about this, is that we're really bad at, making that call or closing that deal and sort of having the conversation. So we need to make sure we do that more often, which is really today, right? Like today was an opportunity for us to, sit down and just and chat. So thank you so much for being here and for being my friend. I'm the same, right? Like friendship is such an important part of what fills us up and lifts us up and gets us through the days. So
thank you very much. I mean, I appreciate you inviting me out. And I just want to say that because you are 6'10", I will always look up to you. Okay.
6'10", yeah. And that's to say that I don't look down on you. No. I look up to you as well. So I appreciate that, Rob. That's very nice of you.
Only when I'm wearing my high heels.
I didn't start this podcast so I could fish for compliments, but thank you so much for that. I'll take them. Unsolicited praise is always welcome.
I just had to slip a height joke in there somewhere.
Absolutely. I saw a guy recently and he's like, we were talking, he was tall, he was my height, and it really bothered him. I'm like, why you get to use all the cupboards. You can see in the crowds, like there's a lot of benefits. I mean, it's hard to find pants, but the rest of it is really positive, I think. I got a bad back, but I have a great chiropractor. So things work out in the end.
There you go.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much, Rob, for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode of the What Makes You Smile podcast. What Makes You Smile is a test and marching band production and lovingly recorded at Neighbor Media in Aurora. Thank you for listening, and see you again soon.